This is Jasmine and
Grace, and welcome to A Balanced Reality.
we are so pleased to have you joining us today. This week's topic is
So, we are continuing from last week's episode about generational wealth. We kind of dipped into strategies of success from actually successful people. And I think what we learned was that their confidence, their boldness, their planning, and for some cutthroatness is what helped them achieve their status.
yeah, but today we want to zoom in on our generational wealth and bring the microscope on the black community. What is it? Why is it such a foreign turn in the black community? And is this achievable for us, people that look like us?
Yes, let's talk about us. So yeah, can you, before we even begin, like let's get a clear understanding of what generational wealth is.
Alrighty, generational wealth refers to any kind of asset that families pass down to their children or grandchildren, whether in the form of cash, investment funds, stocks, and bonds, properties, or even entire companies. That's what I'm talking about. I want an entire company.
Excellent. So that is from CNBC, and that's from an article about their definition, I guess, or version of generational wealth. I think something that also include is education and skills is really important to
Yeah.
pass on to your kids and your grandkids, because even if you don't have the money to be able to do something, if you know how to maneuver, you can, that would be your starting point.
Right.
So
Like,
generational wealth doesn't necessarily have to be cash.
right. Like, for example, if I know how to be a carpenter, I can pass it on to my child and be a carpenter.
Exactly.
We have a whole
You can make
carpenter
a
business.
business.
Yeah.
I
Making
think, yeah.
furnitures. Making furnitures.
Making furnitures. Mm-hmm. So,
I'm so sorry. I don't know why I went back to like the 1980s.
making furnitures.
Making furnitures. We know how to make
Or
them
like,
furnitures.
oh my goodness. Or like, even if you want to learn how to, so something as simple as banking, right? Instead of just having your money coming in and out of the same account and that's just it, and maybe you have a savings. You learn, we'll kind of get into this later because you mentioned about like stocks and investing, but you learn how to split up your money. And so you have an account for your deposits, you have an account that you're paying your bills out of, and then you also have like your pay me account, your savings. Actually, that should probably be two different accounts, because if I put my savings with my pay me account, there's nothing's going to be in there.
I'll be paying me all the time. What you
All day.
I
every
deserve
day.
this.
Are you kidding me?
I choose.
I deserve
I
this.
deserve this.
I made it to Friday. Let's go shopping.
This jacket. I deserve this. I'm worth it. Me. I'm worth it.
Yes, you are. Absolutely. However, future you is worth it too.
Yeah, so that's why you have to save. You have to split your money up. You have to learn how to do these things. And gratefully today, we're gonna give you some tips on how to do that.
So before we actually get into, why we don't have this, or maybe we should actually begin with that, because we want to do like a little history and then say, okay, why, okay.
So there's a big reason why we don't have generational wealth, and it is a systematic failure
Yeah.
of the system was never built around us for us to care about
And
us at all.
Yeah, and it was built to prevent, like, think about it. People purposely created systems in order for Blacks to not have the opportunity to create generational wealth, because it's doable, right? Like, so you have to be conniving to cut of as much very simple,
nice term,
whatever they want to say.
Nice.
But so we're creating the gap from slavery And then even with Jim Crow and past the civil rights movement, there are numerous times where you can see where neighborhoods and communities of Black people are able to build up, and they're able to build up their homes, their communities, have their own jobs, and establish things, and those things are torn down. That's like a physical representation of, or a physical demonstration, actually, of that. But what's a little bit more subtle is something like a person having to go into the bank and apply for a loan, and they're being denied, or a person having to apply for a job and they're being denied, right? And so, like, if I can't even get my job together to start saving money, how am I going to be able to establish that type of security for my family?
Right. And you brought it up, applying for loans. Kathy Hughes, which we talked about in the last episode, was it 32 or 33 times she applied for loans and she was being denied. Now, I don't know, we can't really say if it was about her race or not, but we know that it's very hard as Black people to get loans, to get jobs, to get any type of assistance, where, I don't know, people think that we're all on welfare and we are living off the government cash. It is very hard to get assistance from the government. And I think statistically it's Caucasian people who get assisted living more than we do. So it's mind-blowing that the narrative that they've created is that we're lazy, we don't want to work for nothing, we don't want to save money, we want to, buy, the physical things that make us look wealthy, but we don't want to store it up for our grandchildren and, our children and save, which is like complete opposite of, of course, every race has that. Of people, I want the rims, I want the, the gold chain. Everybody has that.
I want to shine. I want to show off.
I want to show off, but
yeah,
for some reason, the Black community gets from every aspect of everyone that we don't do nothing. Which for 400 years, our ancestors was working harder than anybody in this country. So I'm just like, I don't understand that.
I think our vacation is well earned and deserved.
Right, we deserve to lay up.
Yeah. But I think that another piece of that mentality too is like trying to figure out the balance between getting to the point where you can actually, like, you have a little extra money on the side and then actually knowing what to do with it. Right. So even if it's $5, like, do you imagine a family with maybe just a little extra cash, if they have extra cash during that month, right? Would people actually say, I'm going to put this in savings, or I might actually get like a little extra food? So you have to figure out like how, first off, meet people where they are, right? So how do you figure out your way of storing money? Like, do you just make that sacrifice and you put those $5 aside, or do you make sure your family has a little extra something to eat?
Right.
And if they don't, or like if that's your decision, then what else can you do to help educate your family?
And it's so hard because in school we don't learn any of this.
Oh my goodness.
Nothing.
I was just talking to a friend about that. We were talking about credit cards and like trying to figure out, like, is it better to pay? Is it better to pay for everything at once, or do you like pay a little bit, like to show that you're using it, or like is there some percentage? And I'm like trying to look up stuff and whatever, and I was like, I don't even remember. And she's like, why aren't we taught this? Like, I don't need to know anything about the Pythagorean theorem.
Nothing.
However, it would have been nice to know what a debt to income ratio is.
Now that I'm in the profession that I'm in, I'm learning about that stuff.
Yes.
So that could be another episode, but for what I've been told, what I'm learning is that you want to pay it on time, like either before your actual due date, like a day before your due date. So say if I have something due on the 31st, you want to pay it on the 30th. So that it shows that you're using it and that you're making payments on time even before time. Because if you make late payments, that goes on your credit report that they making late payments, they can't keep this credit card up. So when you try to apply for more credit cards, I was like, oh, well, we got to give her a high interest rate or something like that because she's not paying it on. Listen, credit card, the
Yeah.
fact that we're not taught this in school,
Yes.
but when we turn 18 and we graduate high school, that is, from experience, that was the first thing that I got in the mail. Didn't apply for it.
Oh, absolutely
They
not.
sent it to you like
Absolutely not. Sent it to you, no questions, no kind of education on it at all. You
nothing.
just went for it. Yep.
And it was like,
I think
luckily, my parents were like, throw that in the trash.
so. My parents were like that too. Like they, as soon as I even mentioned having a credit card, they were like, "Nope, don't even do it. Don't start it. Don't all this stuff." However,
You have to have.
it would have been nice if we had had a discussion about building credit
Yes, because you got.
because I didn't know that. And so I think my first credit card was actually it was at a belt store,
Oh,
like a Sears or something like that. And I'm in college, and all I know is that there's this extra account thing that I have that has cash somewhere over there, and I could buy stuff. And Statesboro is a very tiny place. The only thing you have is the mall, right? And so, of course, I was like, oh, not sure what I was using that card for, but I
right.
was using. I was excited. And then when I left, closed my account and just moved on and, got another bank account, all this other stuff. And like there were so many things that I was doing wrong.
Yes, just
I was doing
wrong.
the right thing. Like, I'm not going to use this credit card. I'm going to close out of it as soon as I move away. And all that was negatively affecting
Yeah,
my credit score.
yeah.
I didn't learn these things, honestly, until about a year before I was going to buy my house.
Wow. And that was like, what, 2 years
That
ago?
was a year ago.
Yeah, right. It's a long time. It's
Like,
insane that there isn't a class. Like, forget all these other classes that we do not need. Even in
mhm.
college, I want to know how to do my own taxes.
Like financial wellness
Yes.
class or financial preparation or yeah.
The fact that we're all swimming in debt right now because of student loans is because no one told
Mhm.
us that, this is going to happen to you.
I don't know what those things were. It was just, do I have enough money to pay for the semester? Year?
Yeah?
Yes?
Okay.
Cool.
Books too? All right.
What?
What?
Yeah, give me the paperwork. Let me sign.
And you send, and they
And I
calling you
get some
every
money
day.
back?
And they call you. They could have kept that money.
Oh my
Put
gosh.
that towards what
I
I owe
should have
you.
kept that money. Exactly. I should have kept that money and started paying early. Didn't know any of that. I was excited.
Right. And it's just,
Every semester it was like, well,
we don't even
yeah.
want, that's another episode of how the education system has failed us as a black community. They keep failing us, failing
Tremendous.
young kids
Yeah.
all the time. But another thing I didn't know about was the Tulsa riots.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't learn about that until I think I left school after that. When I heard about the Tulsa riots and in Memphis and all this other stuff, and we talked about how building generational wealth is possible in the black community,
Mm-hmm.
but for some reason, not for some reason, but they went
Hatred,
in
jealousy.
major jealousy. They went in and tore it all down.
Yep.
Tulsa, they
Yep.
dropped bombs.
Burned it down. The National Guard dropped bombs.
That blows my mind. The national.
Hurt.
So these people go in and they starting a riot. They hurting people, killing people. You don't send the National Guard in the regular way. Oh, we're gonna get some shields. We're gonna not y'all don't even.
Protect the citizens of the town, which is
But you're
what we're
supposed to
supposed to be
do.
doing. Yeah.
You drop bombs.
Mhm.
I'm gonna put bombs in the edit. You drop bombs.
No, hold on. Before you keep going, you hit your hand when you said bombs, and it was like boom.
It was. The fact
Like,
is it a bomb over here? Um, you drop bombs on our people, on their businesses, on they had
like you
banks.
destroyed an entire town, right? So you can a horrible scenario because I live in a townhouse, but
Yeah.
if my house was caught on fire, right?
Right.
Um, I know that I would still be able to,
Insurance.
right, but like all isn't lost with this house,
Right.
right? And so if you destroy an entire town, not only are you ruining people's homes, their livelihood, their businesses, like you've cut so many other ways that people would be able to come back. So like let's just say a business burned down, you're still able to rebuild the business. Granted, you have the
Right.
money or the insurance pays for it and all that good stuff, but you're still able to rebuild the business. Now an entire town is destroyed and the people are driven out.
You can't rebuild.
You can't rebuild, and then people have the nerve. Well, if you knew better, then you be able to do what I did. You should be able. I don't
Oh, I
understand why
hate
the Black
that.
community isn't able to do all this stuff. And I was a poor white person. Da, da, da. And it's like, no, there are other things
Right.
that you cannot compare yourself to. You most certainly can't compare yourself to us
Right.
in any aspect.
I think being white and poor is definitely different than being black and poor.
I agree.
It's God, not to compare struggles, because I hate that, because we all have our struggles. But when a system does not want to help you in any way, does not want to change in any way, and to me it's so willfully ignorant to say, well, if I can do it, so can you. You are 20 steps ahead of me, and you
Yes.
expect me
Starting
to
off.
sprint. Starting off,
Yeah.
there's a finish line, and you're already 20 steps ahead of me, and you expect me to sprint. You're walking. You're briskly
But
walking.
imagine though, here's the thing, because when we do start to sprint, then it's like, well, there's some extra, like, what are you doing? Why are
Right.
you, no, this isn't right. This isn't, you shouldn't be able to do that.
You shouldn't be
right?
able to beat me, because I'm 20 steps ahead of you. But when we push ourselves and we do beat y'all, it's like, oh no, they got some type of assistance or criminal activity, or they cheated, and something is like, no, I had to push myself. I think it was on Scandal. I didn't watch those
You're
season.
still working hard.
Right, we have to be 10 times better than them. And it's sad that we're not on an equal playing field. I think I saw it in a video. It was this football coach, and he was telling his teammates and stuff. He was like kind of doing like generalization. If you're black, black or brown, you have to stay on the back of the line. And then he was like, if you got both of your parents, move a step forward. He was just like putting things. If you're white, move a step forward.
Yeah.
So he was like, how do you expect your teammates to win the race if you're all the way ahead? So he was like, to be completely honest, I think he said that, of course, the black students were the fastest. I think it was like a track team or a football team. So when he said start,
I remember saying that. I feel like it was a football team. Yeah.
and then like the black stuff was like, yeah. So you can't say that they cheated or anything like that,
No.
because they started way back before you. You're 20 steps ahead of them. They have no chance of winning the race in your mind, but then you see them win the race. It's like negative.
You're concerned.
You're like, what did they do
I think
to get there?
that's exactly, and that's one of the things that happened, especially with Tulsa. Is like, it's like they're doing really well.
Doing really well, and they couldn't take it.
Let's jack it up.
And it's like, if there were actually ghosts in the world, I think like white people run. Because there's so much bad, I believe in energy. There's so much bad energy on the earth, especially in the United States of America. Just, y'all would not get no rest, to be completely honest. No rest.
I feel like I agree. But I feel like the best thing that we can do is, one, be knowledgeable of that step, and be knowledgeable of the setback, but don't let it be a hindrance.
Right.
Right? because there's already enough hindrances that other people have put in our way. Um, but I think knowing where you start
Mm-hmm.
helps you foresee where you should be going.
I do want to put this. I was with all the things that are happening with, like the police reform and like the laws need to be reformed and things of that nature. I watched this young lady. She's very angry, very passionate, which she all deserved to be. This is around the George Floyd incident and Breonna Taylor. And she explained, I think you might have seen this. She said, for 400 years, we played Monopoly. And we were never, ever able to win anything. We never really played, but we was on the board. We couldn't get no money. We couldn't get no property. We couldn't get no housing. Nothing like that. Then for 50 years, we were able to get housing and money and property and all of the stuff. But then you took it away. You burned it. You destroyed it. So at that time, there was rioting going on. And people were like, well, why are you burning, your own stuff and all the other stuff? She's like, we don't own anything.
That's not ours.
It's not ours. That Target is not ours. That Walmart is not ours.
But so, just a side note, let's actually look at the people that are breaking in.
Yeah.
They're not all black.
Right.
They're not people of color either. And so I think that's sort of the frustrating part too, is that people purposely come into a different town.
Right.
Like,
and join in.
I think about when they're riding in Baltimore. People would come from out of town,
right?
Don't live in Baltimore, and they would be doing all that.
Right.
And so somebody, why would you destroy a place? That wasn't their place,
right?
And what hold do they have? That's the whole reason why people are rioting,
right?
In addition to everything else that I'm going through, I don't even have the safety of myself in my own home. I'm frustrated. I'm not heard. That building's about to be on fire.
It's about to be on fire. And I think that building is insured. Everything in that building is insured. They can rebuild.
You can't rebuild a life.
So, Grace, do you have any tips on how we can achieve generational wealth?
Yes, I do actually. But before I do that, let me read this quote and why the entire discussion of generational wealth in the Black community is so important. So according to the Institute for Policy Studies, wealth disparity between Black and white families will take 228 years to close.
What?
228 years. So let's get this ball rolling.
Let's get it started. I don't know what's going to happen in the future, but they got the pods where we can just sleep for 228 years and then voila.
But that's it. Like we need to work together and actively
get this ball rolling.
Yeah, actively get this ball rolling. All right, so I actually got this list from it's funny. It's very funny. It's a life insurance company.
Okay.
But I think sometimes one of the go-to methods of leaving wealth is like that life insurance policy. However, talk about giving them their roses while they're alive.
Right.
So I've got a list of 8 things that we can do, and life insurance is one of them. But the first one is home ownership. And then next is small business ownership. Third is investment. Fourth is education. Our school system. The fifth is values. Sixth is life insurance. Seventh, annual gifts. And the 8th is philanthropy. I'm actually going to start talking about philanthropy because I think it's really cool that if you are actually born into a situation where generational wealth is something that has already been passed down to you, the way that you can extend that wealth outside of your family is to donate to people who are trying to help people who have lower income.
Right.
What kind of easy math is that?
That's easy.
Right? Like you already have this availability. So instead of having an attitude of, well, I've done this because you have not.
You haven't. It was given to you.
Haven't done on your own. You donate to people who are already creating these bridges for others who don't have the opportunities that you did.
So basically, just give.
Give your money.
Give
Give
to
your
those who
time, give
don't
your
have.
money.
Give your
Yep.
time, give your money.
Give your time
And
and give your money. And
giving
talent.
feels good, if to be honest.
Does.
Oh
And
wow.
it's a tax write-off.
Yeah. The more you know, the
Well, you
rainbow
know.
that
Perfect. Um, so the first one, home ownership, is I feel like it's something that you have to look at either like a short-term, short vision, long-term vision, right? So short vision, I was just like, I just want to own a house and not be in an apartment anymore,
right. That was your goal.
which is nice. However, long-term vision should have been, I want to be able to buy a home that I can pass on to my kids.
Right. I don't know if you want to pass the home that you're in.
Not gonna pass this home on to anybody. No, but see, my plan though is to rent out rooms. And so that way I could be saving out my income or saving up my income. And I'll be able to build on that.
Side note, I don't want Grace renting out homes because I feel like it's unsafe renting out her rooms. She has Simmy there, but Simmy's not loyal.
Timmy is loyal to everyone. He's
Except
a terrible guard
he's like,
dog.
friends.
You're my friend.
You're gonna hurt her?
Give me snacks?
Friends.
What? Yes.
Oh my god.
You go upstairs? I'm not allowed
Side
upstairs
note,
unless she
went
calls
over.
me.
We got together last weekend. Came over Grace's house. Simmy was in his little crate. He couldn't see us, so he was growling because he could hear me and Lydia.
Barking, yeah.
Yeah. When he came out, he's such a sweet small bean in his oversized sweatshirt. He's so cute. And I was just up there just massaging underneath the jowl area. He's a pit bull, you know, they like that. And he was just looking at Grace like, why don't you?
He had this look in his eye, like, why don't you treat me like this? I'm not like that. Like, when I take him to training, the trainer's like, you gotta do the high pitch. Good boy. Like, I tried that. I scared him because that's not how we talk.
Grace doesn't talk like that.
I don't talk like that.
I talk
No,
like
just,
that.
Good job. You're doing good.
Great.
Good. Great.
Move! Like she might.
Like, those if I yell at him, he's gonna be like,
What did I do wrong?
wrong.
Why is your
But yeah,
voice
no,
that high?
He's not a great guard dog.
He's not. So note, I just don't like that idea, but
So that is why I firmly believe in background checks. So another thing is that, and we can go into like a real estate conversation, a real estate episode about this, but yeah, absolutely not renting out your home just to anybody just because it's dangerous. It's very dangerous.
I love how you look in the camera. It's dangerous.
It's dangerous.
Don't rent out your place.
To anyone, just anyone.
Right.
But there are like there are programs and there are companies that actually can manage your like if you want to rent out a home, right? There are companies that actually do that. They're property management companies. And so even if it's your home, they will find the people for you. They'll do the background checks for you. And they would be screening the people that you're going to be renting your home out to. So there's some level of security. So home ownership. So even if I weren't renting out my home, like if I were able to put enough money aside to put a down payment on another home, my plan is to keep this and rent out this entire space.
And still make that.
Yeah, and still make that money. One, to cover this home, but also to save for something else. Like, that's the whole point. So even if I'm living in this home and I want to fix it up and make it livable for other people, my entire goal is I need to be making money. I don't just want to be maintaining this house.
Right.
And so if I were to, pass this on eventually, then yeah, that would be the goal, that it's an income property. But it's not income property where looks really janky, because my name is attached to that and I would never do that. So yeah, well, maybe we can't have jankiness. So the second thing is small business ownership. You actually had the example of being a carpenter, right?
Yeah,
And
yes.
you know, so that plays actually into 2, 4, and 5, which is small business ownership, education, and
Education.
values.
Yep.
Because imagine if you're a small child, right? And you're able to see the skills of one of your parents or your guardian. Um, you're learning how to do these things, and then as you grow older you start to learn more about business and management, which is so important because
So important.
people go into business and they're not sure what exactly they're doing. um, and it's beneficial because there are other people who know what they're doing. There are people who have been doing this for years. So even if you don't have that example from um, a parent, there's always somebody else that you can kind of glean from.
Right. Yeah, I was
So
just about to say, there's always someone else who's willing to share their
yes.
education and their values to you. Like,
Yep.
I don't have to necessarily be related to you to share something with you. Then it goes
Right.
back to philanthropy. Like, not
Mm-hmm.
just giving money, but hey, let me teach you the
Right.
business that, is growing my money to teach you the skills and everything else. So you, in turn, can pick yourself up by your bootstraps, as they love to use that term, and
Yeah.
lace them up and go out there running. So I
Indeed.
think all of these are interconnected.
Mm-hmm.
So I love
Yeah,
that.
absolutely. Absolutely. Like, I mean, so you kind of get the life insurance, but investments and annual gifts. So investments is something that I'm still learning about. But again, it's 2021. There are apps, there are videos, there are
So many.
quick reads. Like there's so much information. And you just have to know, you don't have to know what you're looking for, honestly. You can just look on how do I start investing? And then you kind of figure out how to do it from there. Um, but that's a whole nother skill set. Like, how
Yeah.
do you properly invest? How do you not throw your money off to the wind?
How to
Just
choose
because
the
somebody
right.
said this, how to choose the right stocks and all that. But yeah, I think again that definitely ties into to education. Um, but the last one was annual gifts. And so their suggestion was that if you're going to be giving gifts to your kids, or I guess as there are kids, like small children,
Right.
so you kind of put money aside, or as they're adults, and let's say you guys have already established those type of that savings for you, and say your kid's like, hey, look, we really want a house. You ever watch like House Hunters,
Yeah.
whatnot? And they're like, yeah, my parents chipped in. And I'm always like, what?
Right.
What?
You know how much this house costs? How much did they chip in?
What are you giving?
Right.
But that's your parents' way of
Like helping
first
you
off,
out.
you're saving money, but you're helping them out because then you can use that money for other payments down the road.
Yeah.
Again, just imagine. Ah,
Like, for example, my parents bought my entire bed set
yes,
because I do have back issues. So they were like, we were sleeping on the air mattress, as you are when you first move into your first apartment, and you're like, okay, we have to buy furniture and stuff like that. My parents
yeah,
chipped in and bought me this awesome set. Comes with dresser, headboard, mattress. I got another dresser. It's just a mirror that has not been put up yet for the years I've been here. I don't have the tools. Someone didn't pass those values down to me.
girl,
I don't have a. What's the J
go
code?
over there. Yeah, I'm gonna go over there with my toolbox.
Please, dude. And I'm
I will.
short. That mirror is my height. I'm
Oh
scared.
my gosh, I'll bring my step stool.
Thank you. I don't know what to do with it. It's just been sitting right here. I just be like, well, my outfit looks good, and that's about it. It's
I get
not
that
a.
lean.
Yeah.
How to make sure you
You kind of got to
stand.
squat. Okay, that looks good. The thing about life insurance, which I find so hilarious, because we have millions upon millions of commercials with life insurance, like, Oh, did you hear Debbie passed? I don't know how they gonna pay for her funeral. She didn't leave nothing behind. And that's well
Yeah.
and good. They always have like the two older people talking about it. And it's just that's well and good, but I really don't see the commercials for, the stuff that we talked about here, like the annual gifts, philanthropy, home ownership, small business ownership, etc. Life insurance is important. You don't want to leave this earth and now your family members have to scrape up something to bury you with,
Right.
because unfortunately 9 times out of 10 they don't have enough and they have to do with cremation. And if that wasn't in your will and testament, unfortunately there's no way to really say goodbye to your loved one. Cremation, I don't like it unless
Getting cremated.
you are
Yeah.
you are. Oh,
Tossed my dust over the Niagara Falls.
I hate you so much. It's gonna be, you know how cold it is? Your dust is going to freeze midair.
It'll be like I'm skydiving in the spirit. Yes.
It's just your dust. It was
Sorry.
like, so is that dust? I'm so sorry.
Oh, that's so gross. Okay.
We would have to. Can you rent a boat on Niagara Falls?
Yeah, you just have to sneak it onto, was it like the Maid of the Mist?
You said I would have to sneak on?
I don't know if they let people just drop dust into the, but I want to go off the top of the waterfall.
Okay, Pocahontas, we'll see what we can do for you, okay?
Something that I wanted to include about values is that, only in this instance, when I hear the word values, I think about mindset. And so we talked about that need to show off and, I did this, I deserve this. But changing that mindset from short term, look at all the great things I did, to being able to put that money aside to say, I'm confident that my grandkids are set.
Right.
I think, again, values is something that you can intertwine into your work ethic, how you treat other people, how you work with people, how you spend your money. But I definitely think that if you are able to incorporate values beyond yourself, or worth beyond yourself, you're able to hand out all these different things. You're able to build better for yourself and for your family.
Yeah, values are very important. Like you said, how you treat other people is very important. And it builds up good karma. You teach your children, hey, even though you have amount of wealth that's been passed down to you, doesn't mean that you treat other people like trash.
Doesn't mean you're gonna have it all the
Forever,
time.
yeah.
Another quote, and this is from the UK actually, was the further our generation comparing the amount of wealth that their parents and grandparents were able to accumulate is decreasing with every generation. So people are like, yeah, I was born into wealth and all that, but if you actually put the numbers on paper and look at how much they have, it's not enough to sustain further generations. And so even if you were born into a wealthier family, you still need to incorporate these things. So imagine one like us. We just need to start learning these things.
We just need to start now.
So before we go, I just want to leave you all with a really cool organization you should check out. It's called the Opportunity Hub. It's the largest Black-owned multi-campus entrepreneurship center and technology hub, created by Rodney Sampson.
Yep, and in the article on Fast Company, Rodney Sampson has 2 suggestions for Black millennials to build wealth. Building wealth through entrepreneurship and opportunities in real estate.
Yep. And we hit both of those actually on that list. So just find your niche and let's make our own money.
Right. It's time to get started, ladies and gentlemen. They can
Y'all
burn
know
it
they say
down,
the
but we
black-
can build it up.
The Black dollar spends 4 seconds in the Black community.
We need to change that pronto.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I'm just starting to, not just starting, but I'm making it a point to buy black.
Mm-hmm.
Cause
As you should.
Because I should.
Yep.
So, Grace, do you have any tips for us this week?
I do. So if you, first off, check out Black Banks. One of them is actually called One United, and they have financial classes. So if there's some basic questions that you have, there's an entire range of courses, little videos, articles that you can read. But I would definitely encourage you to reach out to your bank, look at their website. A lot of banks have this information. So besides holding your money, they have a lot of information that you can use to educate yourself. No one else is going to help you or have as much interest in you as you should for yourself. So I'm definitely encouraging you all to use the facilities that you give your money to and see how you can benefit yourself.
Awesome, awesome. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode.
Bye. Have a wonderful Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Here's to starting off with new adventures, Grace. Why are you making that face?
I was just thinking about the fact that COVID's not gone yet.
Oh. New adventures from our living room.
Yeah, exactly.
So we can't go. Did you hear it's a new strain?
There are 24 new strains.
We're not going nowhere for 2021. We got plans, y'all.
And we have something.
I finally got my passport. I can't go anywhere. God.
And you go nowhere.
Why?
That's it, guys. That is the end of today's episode. I'm Grace.
And I'm Jasmine. And this is A Balanced Reality. If you're on Anchor, leave a voice message. Say hi or give us some ideas for our next discussion.
We hope you enjoyed it, and we'll talk to you next week. Bye.